That was an interesting time. NOTS, you know, did you have any involvement in the True Blue series? And what do you remember about them going after Bangin' on Wax with that song BUSTAZ on Wax?
Well, you know, they didn't necessarily get along, the two different groups, you know, two different, I guess, factions of the gangster rap there. So, you know, basically they just didn't get along. So it probably went deeper, you know, into some street stuff. But me and, you know, KEKE LOC R0LLlN tight, you know, me and Bangin' on Wax and
Sin Loc, all those dudes, man.
Yeah, I was more, you know, with Ron and Tweety Burlow. So because we formed the underground, you know, the underground was me, it was them Bangin' on Wax, it was KEKE LOC. So that was it as far as the
right.
LA scene, you know. And so eventually me and KEKE LOC worked together, you know.
What do you remember about that project gaining a buzz, the True Blue series with Metro, you know, and
like those songs, man, are just, you know,
classic LA,
gangster,
yeah.
And I think iRock produced a lot of that. Brian Dobbs, you know, I'm sure if you're familiar with Brian Dobbs, he was the guy with the big afro and the Coolio videos.
Oh, okay.
So when we started actually working, so me and Brian Dobbs were producing the music first, you know. And so I guess he would go and produce Coolio. And actually Coolio's hit track, County Line, was supposed to be for Spanish Fly.
Really? How'd that go about that?
But Rich Rock didn't go to the studio that day.
Really?
So Coolio ended up doing it. So we were all working, you know, yeah, Coolio's studio there.
Okay.
Rascas.
Been on my show a few times, man. That's the boy.
And Brian Dobbs was like the, you know, he was the foundational producer.
I got to talk to Brian Dobbs. I definitely got to talk to him.
Yeah. So, and so, you know, that's how we kind of formed, you know, the underground scene.
Damn, dude.
I love hearing stories like this, man. So Coolio's breakout hit County Line was really supposed to go to Spanish Fly. Imagine how Coolio's career may have been different if that one thing changed. Would Coolio have went on to win that Grammy Award for Gangsta's Paradise? Great song. I don't know, man. History may have been a little bit different. Would Spanish Fly have made that song as dope as Coolio did? Who knows? But that's a dope story. Shout out to Murray Brumfield for sharing that. I'm telling you, man, you dig a little deep and you're going to get some of those gems, some of those hip-hop stories that are unheard of, that no one is going to know unless someone like Murray comes out and says something. So shout out to Murray, a.k.a. Mexicali Slim. I know he has some new music out there right now, him and his group that he put together. So make sure you guys stream that. I'll put some links to that in the description as well, so you can check out Murray Brumfield, a.k.a. Mexicali Slim, and some of his new music. But yeah, aside from the Coolio story, going back to BUSTAZ on Wax and KEKE LOC, that BUSTAZ on Wax was huge. For anyone who doesn't know, back in the 80s and 90s, if someone called you a buster, that meant you a punk, you a mark. So they was calling the guys from Bangin' on Wax BUSTAZ on Wax. KEKE LOC and his crew were claiming that they were the real ones and that the ones who are rapping on Bangin' on Wax are perpetrators. But shout out to KEKE LOC, shout out to NOTS. Niggas Off the Street classic album, True Blue. It's a dope tape. Really enjoyed that growing up. One of the first gangster rap albums that made me fall in love with this genre called gangster rap, because they were some of the early pioneers and their tape was everywhere. NOTS's tape was everywhere. You'd be randomly just walking down the street and you hear somebody bumping it out of their Jeep. Dope tape. If you haven't checked out NOTS and you enjoy 90s West Coast hip hop, especially specifically gangster rap, reality rap, whatever the hell you want to call it, Go down that rabbit hole. Check out NOTS, Niggas Off the Street, especially their True Blue tapes, True Blue 1, True Blue 2. And make sure you check out that BUSTAZ on Wax classic song where they're going at all the rappers from BANGlN on Wax. But what do you guys think of my interview so far with Murray Brumfield? I'm posting it in clips. By the time you hear this, the link to the full interview will most likely be in the description. So please go to the description if you want to check out the full interview with Murray Brumfield, aka Mexicali Slim, in its entirety, the owner of Familia Records. We got to give this man his flowers. We got to give Familia Records their flowers while they are still here. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now.
I do believe that there's got to be credit given to black people with music and stuff, and like, for example, with country, right? Country, a lot of people didn't know that was made by black people.
Oh, of
black
course,
people started country.
yeah, Muddy Waters and all those guys. They created that sound that eventually morphed into country. I mean,
and now that Beyonce is doing country, I don't know if she's doing already country, but I know there was like a big.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Black people shouldn't be doing country, motherfuckers. We invented country. They don't even like.
Exactly.
Dog, all that shit was stolen.
But check this out. She tried to do, or she had in mind to do country a couple of years ago. I don't know, like a lot of people didn't know, or it was in the process. But there was people. I mean, without respect to white people and all that, but you got to give respect to black people, But they were saying, people were saying that they were making a big fuss, like, no, this and that, or she's gonna make country. Come on, But it's like, don't, if people let you borrow, like, for example, rock and roll, black people made it. But people think it's
Chuck
only
Berry, man. I mean, he was one of the originators, if not the first guy who made. And then who's those guys that did Surfing USA? They end up stealing his shit bar for bar. Beach Boys.
Elvis got a lot of stuff from Little Richie.
Dude. All that stuff, homie. They would go to juke joints. They would go to juke joints in like small towns of Tennessee and stuff like that. They go to these little juke joints, what we would call a dive bar, and they would go to these juke joints where these black artists were playing blues that the locals loved. No one else knew about it, but the locals loved. So yes, the white man would go there. He'd bring his little phonograph, or he'd bring something along those lines, and record the music and take it to artists like Elvis Presley and others so they can blow it up.
Like the Elvis Presley movie that they made recently, I couldn't even watch it anymore, but they made it seem like it's like Elvis music was the devil. Oh, that's devil's music. That's devil's music. I'm like, you guys know damn well what you guys are trying to say by devil's music. You know what I mean?
Black people music.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just trying to disrespect anybody, but at the same time, it does piss me off, when they try to, they don't give recognition, props. So going back to Tariq Nasheed's documentary, bro, like, it's good that he's doing that because people are getting mad. I don't know if Fat Joe's getting mad. People, some Latinos, Puerto Ricans, shout out to my Puerto Rican Latino brothers from the East Coast, nothing against them. It's just, to me, when it comes to culture of popping and stuff, hip hop it's very important to me, So this documentary, I'm not trying to promote it, I don't know Tariq Nasheed, you know what I mean, in person or nothing like that. But it's very important because you should always question things, Then don't ever allow somebody to tell your narrative. And this goes to my Latinos too, you know what I mean? And everybody, not just Latinos. Don't let other people tell your narrative or your culture.
I think Tariq Nasheed is very intelligent. I enjoy his content.
Yeah.
I do believe he is trying to say with his documentary that black people are the sole creators of hip hop. I do believe. If I'm wrong, correct me. But if that is the case, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with Tariq Nasheed, because I personally believe that Hispanics were there along the way. We don't know who created what first. You know, we don't know who created this first. We can go back 100 years and just keep saying that was the first time someone rhymed together, and the first time someone did a backslide, and the first time someone did this or that. You know, we can go back years. But I know too many Puerto Ricans, too many Dominicans, especially in their 50s and 60s, and people forget that the Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, they come in all different colors.
Well, I do believe there was like a huge influence. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? There was without Puerto Ricans, there wouldn't have been the what it is. You know what I mean?
And I just think I don't like the fact that they're just completely. And I think, if I'm mistaken, once again, Tariq Nasheed, forgive me, but I think he's literally trying to cut them out completely. If that's the case, then I got to respectfully disagree, because we don't know. Going back then, like, I know Puerto Ricans who are darker than my father, who is about as black as Wesley Snipes, and I know Dominicans who are darker. So, like, and people forget Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, a lot of them identify as black.
A new Chabadu, rest in peace, because that came to mind. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to get involved.
His last name is Quinones.
Quinones, yeah. I think if he would have been here with us, he would have been able to tell us like the true history behind it.
If you look at a picture of him, he looks like a light-skinned black man. You know what I'm saying? But his last name is Quinones. I just can't completely cut out my Latino homies out of this one, man. I love my black brothers. I love myself. I love hip hop. And I know, just even for me, going back, all the ways that I got introduced to hip hop was through Latinos.
And on my side, I'm not trying to discredit going against that. And there is a huge influence, you know what I mean? And I'm with you on that. Like if he's trying to erase the Latinos from there, be like, oh, it was only us and this and that. That's that's a different.
Yeah. But shout out to Tariq Nasheed. I'm looking forward to that documentary. I'm because I'm just a hip hop lover. I love hip hop, so I can't wait.
The guy's funny, man. The guy's funny, entertaining. And there's a lot of not controversial stuff, but he's got his thing. He's got his thing going on.